Welcome back, everybody, to the Computer Guy Reviews. We're going to be talking about 5700X. We're going to pretend I'm holding it. Actually, it's probably like this big. Thanks again for joining us, guys. So today we're going to be talking about the 5700 XT. Obviously, this review is coming out after the announcement of the 6800s and the 6800X XTs, and hopefully it'll be out before the announcement of the 6900 XTs or X6900s or whatever it's going to be. Even with the announcement of the 6800s, and I'm going to kind of go off on just a slight tangent, I still find that this card is very viable, especially for people that are wanting to still do 1080, which is the majority of us still. So we're going to talk a little bit about the comparison. So I have some that are fairly relevant. I have a 360 and a 3800, and no, not the Xbox 360, but the actual RX 360 from AMD. We're going to kind of compare the three graphics cards that I personally have, and these went into my personal computer. We're not going to get too much into the stats of it. These are stats from testing on my system. I only did test benches, or I only did benchmarks. Honestly, these markings are going to be the 360 and the 380 aren't going to be significantly, like I said, you may be seeing the stats here. There's not going to be much of a difference so much here in 2020 with what you're seeing compared to some of the stats and stuff that you're looking at with because we're talking about Heaven, Valley, and then Super Piston, which I have to make a side note, the 360, why you're not seeing numbers for that is because it could not run the Extreme, which is what these settings were all set on. All of these numbers are from the Extreme, the most max settings we can set each of these. So Valley, Heaven, Haven, however you want to pronounce it, or Super Piston, all of those are set on max setting for 1080. Anti-aliasing set all the way up, all of that to its max. All of these set to their max settings, like I said, except for 360, and I had to omit it. If I could at least get settings for high on Super Piston, I might have put them in with an asterisk, but I couldn't do Extreme, and then the next one down would have been high, and I couldn't do that, so I had to go down to medium. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that it only has 2 gigs of VRAM. So because of that, it had some limitations right there. So that being said, again, look at the numbers here. You can see that clearly that the 5700 XT is gonna blow them out of the water. But it's not so much blowing them out of the water, but it's gonna play more relevance to what we're looking at here in two more things we're gonna talk about, which is the price to performance. So first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. So if these numbers are, obviously the 5700 XT is going to range on an average, and we did some searching on Google, so that would have pulled pricing from various different locations, eBay for used and sometimes new, which I tried to stick to mostly new, some used, or like new products. And most of the pricing that I'm seeing for the 5700 XT is around $360. Cha-ching. So it's decently up there, and apparently now this is the new mid-ground graphics cards, which I think is a little silly, because when I think of mid-ground, I think I'm gonna buy a graphics card and I'm going to put it on medium settings for 1080. That's what I think mid-grade or mid-ground graphics cards. That's what I think of. But apparently that's not the case. It's cranking it up to max right now at 1080. It's like, no, that's not. But apparently that's what everybody's saying. So we're going to move on to the price to performance. So essentially, the numbers that we've gotten we're taking their numbers, and I'm not doing the 360 or the 380. I'm not going to do theirs because this video is really about the 5700 XT. So what we're doing is we're taking the numbers from the Super Piston, the performance that we got from those numbers, to how much we're going to pay for a card, and it's going to spit out a number. And essentially we're looking at the 5700 XT is around a 14.36 for that, and then closer to 15 for the overclock price to performance, which is pretty good. And you can see in the little diagram here, and you can also see that I've got the 2070 Super also on there. I did some digging for the average price of it, closer to 900. There's still a lot of people out there that feel like it's closer to 6, 7, 8,000, whatever price it is for their card. It could be brand new, it could be mostly used, it could be slightly used. I really tried to base it off of new or mostly new pricing, and most of those are still higher end. Pretty much, I think you can find a 3070 for probably cheaper than what you can find a 2070, but it ranked an 8 because it's priced almost double. My scoring on this is definitely 5 out of 5. Absolutely. I would say if you can definitely pick up this card, do so. Pricing is fluctuating right now as this video is going out. It's fluctuating a little bit. When the 6800s come out a little bit more, I would imagine these are going to probably get a little bit cheaper. I do want to make a note that I do like the AMD software as well. For the 5700 XT, I was able to go in to do the overclock instead of manually going through. I really just used the software and said, hey, overclock. So it did some slight flickering and stuff. Basically it clocked up. It's like, hey, you know, your base was this. Now I think it went up to 2130 is what it went up to. And it's free performance, and it was nice and stable. Fans kept it nice and cool. Again, up to your discretion. Do you want to overclock it a little bit and let the fans keep it cool? It's up to you. I'm gonna probably keep it at stock because it runs great. I've been running it mostly at stock with no overclock, and all of my games, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, 7 Days to Die, Call of Duty, free one because I don't really want to pay for a Call of Duty game. Assassin's Creed, I mean pretty much all these high visually intense games, I throw them all to Ultra for 1080, and it runs great. It runs solid for all of that, and that's just right out of the box stock. So again, 5 out of 5, highly recommended. Great price to performance. Like I said, if you're looking at the chart. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. You can see me on Twitch. You can see me here on YouTube. I stream once a week, Wednesdays. Normally it's morning time until afternoon. Come find me. We can talk some computer stuff. I don't mind talking about that stuff on my stream. I really appreciate you guys. Have a good one.